Welcome to the Lifestyle Medicine Clinic. This is Dr. David Drozik asking, are you ready for health? This session, we're going to encourage you to curb those cravings. This is a supplemental session to our core 8 sessions, which you can find on our website, thelifestylemedicineclinic.us. The first thing we want to acknowledge is that food addictions are real. Just like in heroin and cocaine, certain foods cause a release of endorphins, the feel-good hormone that cause us pleasure. This is a normal response, and it's predominantly to things that contain salt, sugar, and fat. This is exploited by the food industry. So, things to consider. What can you do if those food cravings keep tripping you up? First of all, be purposeful. Be aware of what's happening. And that's what we want to go over in this lesson, to give you that sense of awareness so you can deal with this purposefully, not falling victim just passively to those cravings. You want to review your goals. What is it that you're after? Keep those long-term and even short-term goals in sight so that when you're tempted, you remember what you're working toward. Clean out that pantry. Get rid of the foods at home. Those foods that keep tripping you up, get them out of reach so that it's not possible for you to just quickly grab them when you feel that point of weakness. Don't restock the pantry. And don't go out hungry. Be sure you've eaten some healthy, filling foods before you go out shopping or to run errands so you're not tempted to go into that drive-in or grab those donuts. Practice stress management. I'd refer you to this session on stress management in particular to help you get through those tough times when those cravings just seem to be overwhelming. And there's a book called Slim by Design. In the left sidebar, you can find a summary of some of the techniques that are in the book. This book was written by an engineer who looked at the differences between heavy people and thin people and wanted to find out what was unique about their practices that made them one or the other. His goal is to help you engineer healthy choices into your life without having to even think about them. For example, get rid of those cookies on the counter. Instead, put a bowl of fruit. Things like that are listed in the summary, and I'd recommend the book for you. Ask for help. If you need help, look for help. It's difficult sometimes to overcome those cravings. Develop that support structure that can help you. Drink water first. Make a bargain with yourself that before you grab that candy bar or that donut, you will drink 2 glasses of water. Make a deal with yourself. Maybe after a good week of eating healthy and not falling prey to those cravings, you can have a nice square of dark chocolate, or along the line of that donut, you can only have that donut if you've had 2 glasses of water first. Don't feel defeated. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, keep going. Life is full of those momentary falls, but overall the trajectory of your life should be forward. And then plan those celebrations. Don't worry about Thanksgiving and Christmas. You're going to eat those foods because that's what's there. However, beware because, for example, we wouldn't tell an alcoholic to go to the bar on celebrations because it would start that downward spiral. So if you indeed have a true addiction to something, then you need to avoid that. That addiction may be different for different people, but if it starts you on that downward spiral, then you need to absolutely avoid those. You also want to practice mindful eating. Be aware of what you're eating. That might help you choose smaller portions. You can eat slowly, appreciate it, smell it, see it. On the sidebar on our website, you can find a practice to help you with mindful eating. Sometimes you need to practice portion control. If you're eating a completely plant-based diet, as we recommend, high in fiber and water, generally you're going to fill up and be satisfied with a low amount of calories and not really need to worry too much about portions. However, some people still overeat and feel miserable afterwards. They know they've overeaten and they continue to do so. In that case, you might need to practice portion control, actually measuring out the things that you need. And I'd refer you to our fine-tuning lesson. That's the third in our series that might help you with some ideas there as well. Then downsize. Don't go for the great biggie. Go for the small one, just enough to satisfy you and hopefully not trigger that cascade that happens sometimes with food addictions. Another thing that's important to think about and to remember is that it takes about 20 minutes to get that signal of being full from your stomach to your brain. You can take that to your advantage in that before you have that meal, 20 minutes or so before, you can have something that's both high in fiber and water, that's healthy, that will help take the edge off of eating those other things. Same thing with going out to do errands. Be sure you fill up with something like this. Give it a little time, and that 20-minute signal will make its way to your brain, and you won't be as hungry and as likely to grab things that are less healthy for you. Something else you can do is put your leftovers away before you eat your main meal. So you fill your plate with what is a healthy portion size, and then you pack everything else away, some of it ready for lunch tomorrow so you don't have to deal with the food again and be tempted to eat it between now and lunchtime. And when you go out to eat, just start out with boxing up half your meal, leaving only half of it on the plate. Things like that can help you control that overeating. Let's get a little bit personal right now. Let's get into your comfort zone. On the left sidebar, again, there's a download on Consider Your Cravings. And I want you to work through that. Start out with an idea of what is something that calls your name, something that's really one of those unhealthy cravings or addictions. Just pick one if there's more than one, and then go back and rework this exercise with the other one. How important is it for you to curb this craving? How confident are you that you'll be able to curb this craving? We'll ask you to rate that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being highly important and 0 not being important. Ask yourself, why is this unhealthy? What is it that makes this unhealthy for me in my long-term health goals? Consider what triggers the cravings. When it happens, how do you feel? What time is it? What else is going on? Are you tired? Are you anxious? And then how do you feel after giving in? Has it done some damage? More so than your self-esteem? Has it made your blood sugars go crazy? Ask yourself what you could do to avoid it, to be proactive. What can you do next time to avoid falling into that pit? And then be aware of your limits as well. What could you do to limit or minimize the cravings and its damage? Who can you ask for help? How can they help you? Is it a family member, a spouse, a professional counselor, a health coach? Find somebody that you can lean on and ask them to help you with this. Then reconsider, how important is it for you to curb this craving? How confident are you now after working through this exercise that you'll be able to curb this craving? You might need professional counseling. Sometimes we just have to go to the professionals who are trained in addictions to get the help that we need. There's also Overeaters Anonymous groups all over the place. In Athens, where I live, meets at our local Lutheran church on Mondays and Tuesdays. You can go online, oa.org, type in your zip code or your city, and find the one closest to you. So as we get ready to close, just some food for thought. Just hearing about how to change and then changing has about a 10% success rate. Hearing and deciding to change has about a 40% success rate. Deciding to change and making a plan has about a 50% success rate. Making a plan and committing to another person has about a 65% success rate. Committing and making an appointment to make changes with a buddy has a 95% success rate. So get someone to work with you. Get somebody else in your life that can help you. Now I'd like you to set some goals, and on the sidebar there's some downloadable goals that you can fill out. Things that are SMART goals, as we've talked about in earlier lessons, such as I will purge my pantry of those addictive or those habit-forming foods that I find myself going to. I'll not consume sugared beverages for 5 days this week. I'll not eat cheese on 6 days this week. I will learn a stress management technique and use it daily as needed. And I'll go to an Overeaters Anonymous meeting this week, or I'll make an appointment with a counselor. You pick the goals that best fit your scenario. Are you ready for health? I hope so, and I hope this lesson has been helpful.